I'm shaking a bit because I've never done this in public before. And I've done many things in public, like many things. But I've never simply lit Shabbat candles in front of other people.
Laba is an artist fellowship program
where 8 artists are chosen to study ancient texts together.
Meeting, studying, talking, going out afterwards for a beer, which is as important as the study session. And slowly through these weekly meetings, a community is created.
At the end of the process, the artists put together an exhibition that combines the different artistic fields.
So what we are trying to do at Laba is break open the possibilities of what it can mean to be and be seen as a Jewish artist in Berlin today.
And he will lose her in the fret line, he will lose her in the gray and in the yellow, and like the soul is there to circles.
We are taking a whole treasure of Jewish texts from thousands of years.
And in the kind of legacy of Talmudic learning, we just interpret. The text itself that we look at is a very, very skeletal text. The job of the interpreter and the job that rabbis have been doing for many, many, many generations is to fill in the skeleton with flesh and bones and skin and everything. What's wonderful is when you start looking at ancient texts in this way with artists, you end up having connections drawn from all across the board of things that you would never normally think about.
I was inspired from the story of Shvirat HaKelim, which translated to breaking the vessels, the creation of the world by God in a process, in an act of violence. And I felt very inspired to deal with my own story of trauma, of sexual trauma. I was surprised by this story from the Kabbalah. The idea of the new drawing is to go back to my own body as a woman and to be present again. To be present in general, to be present in intimacy.
The Laba project starts with a theme.
This year's theme is broken.
So doing anything Jewish in Berlin is wallowing in brokenness.
I love the theme of broken because it's honest. We're all broken in so many ways. A great starting point for very compassionate discourse with each other. It's great material for making art.
With this project, I'm mostly reacting on the brokenness of the system I come from. This is Masechet Sotah from the Talmud. This book is the heart and the base, the absolute consensus of all Jewish life. I decided to vandalize this book, to destroy this book in a gentle way. By the Talmud, you should not talk to women at all, and we are not actually allowed to read this book. And I'm creating erasure poetry out of it, which basically means that I remove text and then leave some parts of it to create a new narrative. Usually I do a lot of work about migration, but this time this is not about hybridity or migration. This time it's about being a woman.
I see the process of gender transition as something that is constructing and deconstructing at the same time, and it's ongoing. So it means that I was broken, I reconstruct myself, I still feel broken, but maybe wiser.
It's important for Laba to bring out there that Jewish art can be about anything. The Jewish art is not just about memory or Holocaust, but Jewish art can encompass a whole world of questions that are relevant to every human being.
One of the beautiful things about art is the freedom to tell new stories and re-examine past stories.
It's important to have new Jewish spaces in Berlin for the Jewish population of Berlin to have spaces in which they can explore what does that mean today to be a Berlin Jew. I think it's important for the German public to have a place where they can touch, where they can feel, where they can experience contemporary Jewish life.
So for me, it's very important in the context of Berlin and in Germany that Jewish culture has a face that's not a stereotype, and that has a face that's actually something that's challenging and not so easily consumed.
We try and actually succeed through the different personalities of the fellows of LABA and the artists and the way they work. Everything they're doing is the opposite of a cliche and something simple and clear and an image that necessarily represents something that maybe looks Jewish.
How do we create narratives around Jewishness in Berlin that are not just about death and that are not just about anti-Semitism, but that are about Jewish life, which is something which is much, much bigger and more beautiful and colorful and diverse than that. So I feel very optimistic about what we're doing.